Hello, and welcome to Lesson 10 of B.1, the Serengeti Unit. I'm Katie Easton, a high school science teacher using OpenSciEd. In this video, I will give you an overview of Lesson 10 and wrap up with some tips and tricks. Lesson 10 is important because we put the pieces together that we've learned about conservation plans using the Serengeti as our model ecosystem and plan. We look back to our original conservation plans from Lesson 1 and evaluate the plans in those ecosystems and the impact they would have on an organism and interest holders. First, let's recap how we got to Lesson 10. During Lesson 9, we learned that people wanted to build a road in the Serengeti. Through discussion, we figured out that the successful conservation that supports a stable ecosystem involves relationships between people and nature, and not everyone will be happy about the choices made. We also figured out that these decisions have numerous short and long-term consequences on ecosystems and interest holders. At the end of Lesson 9, we started thinking about our original conservation plans from Lesson 1 and began to wonder about the plans in those areas and how we could evaluate whether conservation efforts are working. Let's take a look at highlights from Lesson 10. Lesson 10 takes 3 45-minute days. This is a putting together the pieces lesson, which means that we're bringing everything we figured out during this unit together to explain a phenomenon. The 30 minutes of material preparation listed here is to make copies of the needed storyboards and handouts. Students do not need to use their individual devices, but you can use individual devices for the storyboards and/or the organizers and evaluation handouts as digital copies. I use digital copies of the evaluation conservation plans, the conservation presentation notes, and the conservation plan data packet documents, and printed and laminated copies of the storyboards for each conservation plan. There are no videos used in this lesson. There are 2 big chunks in this lesson. Let's discuss what's happening in each. The first lesson chunk is explored on day 1 and part of day 2. Students reorient themselves to their original conservation profiles from lesson 1. Students are then given new information in the form of storyboards to explain the conservation plan for that area and packets that provide data taken during conservation efforts. As we create group displays and evaluate our conservation plans, we figure out that scientists evaluate if conservation plans are effective by looking at ecosystem interactions, individual populations over time, and ecosystem resilience. We begin to wonder if the conservation plans and profiles from the other groups are similar to the effectiveness of our own plans. This leads us into our next sense-making loop. The second lesson chunk occurs on the second half of day 2 and all of day 3. Students prepare and present what they've learned about their conservation profile. Students discuss these conservation profiles in the present and how this conservation plan can help us understand the future conservation efforts. Through these discussions, students figure out that the interest holders have different goals in mind when judging criteria and the overall success of the conservation plan. But we can agree that we can all learn how to protect more places in the future by learning about what conservation is happening now. Upon evaluating these different conservation profiles and efforts, students begin to wonder how conservation plans are created and how we can use our new knowledge to evaluate future plans. This will lead us into Lesson 11 when we're evaluate a future plan to protect the prairie in Montana. So in summary, on day 1 of Lesson 10, students are introduced to conservation efforts in their original conservation profiles from Lesson 1 and figure out that scientists use ecosystem interactions, individual organism population over time, and ecosystem resilience to evaluate conservation plans. Then on day 2, as we prepare our presentations and present our findings to each other, we figure out that conservation success relies on the plan's goals being met while supporting ecosystem resilience and minimizing any negative impacts on interest holders. Finally, on day 3, we discuss the future and figure out that interest holders may have different goals and criteria, but we can all agree that we can learn how to protect more places in the future by evaluating conservation that's happening now. Let's take a look at the key moments in Lesson 10. One of the key moments of Lesson 10 happens during Part 4. During this section of learning, the students are given data packets for each of their conservation profiles. If I have bigger groups from Lesson 1 making posters, I'll break them up into smaller groups for this part, like 2 or 3 students. While discussion and conservation is great, I have found that breaking into smaller groups to look at the data is helpful for the kids to visualize and actually see the data before coming back into their bigger profile groups to discuss results before presentations. I believe that Part C of the Evaluating Conservation Plans document is the most important part of this lesson. This is where the kids are really starting to put together all of their learning from the Serengeti unit together to explain a new ecosystem. Students do struggle to complete this portion of the task, so I do keep printouts of the answer key from the teacher folder with me so that I can do a quick peek and steer them in the correct direction. Another key moment occurs in Part 7, when students share within their larger profile groups what they've learned during the data analysis. It's the discussion between the students that is important here. As they begin to explain their thoughts to each other, you'll start to hear claim, evidence, and reasonings come out of them naturally. At this point, I give the 4 groups a large Post-it note to come to a consensus and redraw their Part C impact maps as a display. They will be using these displays to explain to other groups what they've learned about their ecosystem, and will eventually add in their evaluation of the conservation efforts happening in the area and whether they believe it's successful or unsuccessful. Students every year ask me to make different types of displays instead of the impact map, and to my reply, that we should keep the tool the same for each of our conservation profiles so that it's easier to make comparison between the 4 different conservation efforts. Part 12 of Lesson 10 is another key moment. This happens after students have presented their findings on the 4 different conservation profiles. This building understandings discussion is important to make sure that students are making correct connections and supporting their claims with evidence and reasoning. There are 3 main goals to focus on during this discussion. 1, describe that there are varying plans for conservation that are based on the specific threats of the ecosystem. 2, to show the complexity of conservation. And 3, to demonstrate that conservation success relies on the stability and resilience of that ecosystem. I even have students write this down in their progress trackers, as it is an important information for them to understand and use in the unit assessment. There are bullet points at the end of the lesson to listen to and during the discussion in the teacher's edition. I highly recommend having them available and easy to find during this discussion to help lead students to these bigger ideas. It's helpful to use them to create leading questions as exampled on this slide if the students are struggling to make these more generalized statements. I will always say that the last look at a driving question board is a key moment in any unit. Part 13 is the last time we look back at our questions from Lesson 1. It is important to do this with the students as it solidifies that we are in fact answering their questions. It brings student ownership to the curriculum. I use Padlet for my driving question board so students can go back in and color code the stickies green when we've answered the questions, if we have the time. I have them go ahead and add the answers to the comments of the sticky. Constantly coming back to the driving question board not only gives students ownerships that we've answered their questions, but also gives them a sense of pride and acknowledgement that their questions are important and that we can and will spend the time answering what is important to them. It gives the OSC curriculum relevance to the students when they see their personal questions being answered. At the end of Lesson 10, we reflect on what we've learned and the tools and skills we've used to understand conservation efforts. We tie this back to the original thoughts about the 30 by 30 initiative. We saw in Lesson 1 that Hawaii and Maryland have conservation efforts aimed at conserving land and species. Currently, at least 95 other countries have committed to this goal as well. This leads us to our unit assessment when we apply what we've learned to a new conservation plan that supports the 30 by 30 initiative by protecting new species. Let's talk about some helpful strategies in Lesson 10. I have hit most of my tips and tricks during our other time together already for this unit, but it's worth another go around. One tip that I have is to print out the storyboards in color once and laminate them for future use if you don't have access to the OSC kit. My small school doesn't have funds for kits, so I'm always looking for ways to save money. Organization is key too. I have all laminated pieces from this unit binder clipped together and organized in an accordion file with the lesson numbers. Print out the impact map answer keys in the teacher folder of the OSC website for this lesson. They are helpful when walking around to help guide students when they make their displays. The end of Part 12 has a white box with some important key ideas to discuss with the students to prep them for their unit assessment and solidify knowledge from the unit. And lastly, spend time on the driving question board. I have my students multiple years in a row, and one thing I hear the most is that they feel a sense of pride and acknowledgement that their ideas and questions are important because I spend so much time making sure that they see they can answer their own questions at the end of the unit. It's important to give them that support and acknowledgement. There are no new words that we encounter during Lesson 10, but we do come back to some during the wrap-up in Part 12. These include conservation plan, population data, resilience, interest holders, and trade-offs. During Lesson 10, we come back to our driving question board from Lesson 1 to answer student questions about knowledge that we've gained throughout the unit. We also make group displays on posters during Part 4 of this lesson. I use large Post-it note posters for this activity. And finally, there are no new materials created to save for future, though I do leave the displays up during the assessment in their next lesson. Well, this is Lesson 10 in a nutshell. We figured out that conservation success relies on the plan's goals being met while supporting ecosystem resilience and minimizing any negative effects on interest holders. This makes us wonder if we can apply everything we figured out to a new conservation plan for the 30 by 30 initiative. I hope you found this helpful and join us again for Lesson 11, where students will take their unit assessment. Thank you.